Well, before I can defend the guitar as the greatest cultural representation of freedom, I need to ask the question, what is a guitar? Is it that classical instrument made of cedar or spruce, that saturates chamber settings and you play with suit and tie? Or is it that beaten up fixture that you have on every other street corner, that underpins the music of our daily lives? Is it Apollo's tortoise shell inspiration? Is it Orpheus's organ of charm? Is it an American kind of resonator? Is it an archtop of introspection? Or is it this kind of amplified, distorted middle finger to civility and state? I'd argue that it's all of these things and so much more. I'd argue that it's not a mere musical instrument. I'd argue that it's a Jungian symbol that's so embedded in our subconscious that it's there in geometrical form in every single psyche in the room. So that leads me to ask maybe a paraphrase of a progressive question. What is a guitar? So I asked 113 people to tell me about their cultural associations, their semantic associations of the guitar, what it meant to them. They spoke about drugs, they spoke about sex, but most of all, they spoke about freedom. There's the economic freedom. For just a few pounds, that's all that separates you from strumming away to your heart content. There's the freedom to collaborate. The guitar is materially and sonically extremely accessible, and it's not restrained by genre or style. There's freedom of movement, not in the classical migrational sense, but in the way that you can move around a stage with a guitar, you can move around the world with this emblem of freedom in your hand and at your side. And there's also freedom from political straitjacketing. It evades classification, it evades stereotypification. On the one hand, you have Woody Guthrie, this kind of quasi-communist, kind of pointing out economic exploitation and kind of demonic overlords, and he rebels by putting the words, "This machine kills fascists," on his guitar. But on the other hand, you've got when the Iron Curtain falls and communism collapses, you've got revelers at the Berlin Wall collecting up, salvaging the concrete, and then using that to build guitar. So a guitar as a symbol of freedom literally rises from the ashes. So from the Mississippi Delta to the moors of Spain, I would argue that the guitar is the catalyst for political and cultural revolution. In a jam setting, it is the bread and butter that brings people together, and it also gives people a voice to announce their distrust of the status quo. But I would say that the guitar harmonizes seemingly irreconcilable, disparate definitions of freedom. In a liberal sense, it's this sonic canvas for dissent. It's this axe that we use to rage against the machine. And then in a conservative sense, it's this small wooden box with some strings that we use to tell stories and pass those stories on from generation to the next.